Hey, Satan, Lord of Hell here. Today, I found out that apparently my favorite store is Target, which surprised me because I thought their spring collection was just kinda, okay, let's cut the crap, the conservatives are freaking out again. In a tale as old as time, the Alphabet Mafia has found itself under the crosshairs of moral outrage. The fact that less than 2% of the population want to customize their default character model in real life and less than 8% want to add a player 2 with the same loadout has whipped the far right into such a fury that they must enact their vengeance on cardboard cutout displays.
It's disgusting. That's devil worship. That's devil worship. That's devil worship.
Whoa, easy there, Tiger. Careful with those claws. The target, pun scripted and intended, of this new wave of pearl clutching is the Pride section that can be found at your local Target as June begins. Or maybe by the time this video is posted, you won't be able to find it anymore because Target's Pride merchandise will be shivering in fear in a landfill somewhere, hiding from the righteous wrath of some dude named Ethan.
Hey, do you guys support the satanic Pride propaganda?
Yeah, both.
You support it?
Satan and Pride.
You support Satan?
Mm-hmm.
Haha, that's my girl.
What's God gonna think of that?
I don't believe in God.
So you
Did
think
you need help with something?
you support the propaganda that's targeting the kids?
There's nothing targeting kids.
It's all over kids' TV shows. It's all over. They're targeting the kids.
Kids can choose to wear whatever they want.
I'm just asking questions. So do you support the satanic propaganda?
I'm not answering your questions.
God will judge you guys.
Okay.
I mean, I can't. You won't if I don't believe in it.
Almost all of these videos have the same plot. The forces of evil that must bear the brunt of God's crusade against the appropriation of the rainbow are people in red shirts trying to restock aisle 4.
Welcome to Target. The front door is right there. So we are like 10 steps in before there is an entire Pride display for your children to see.
So you guys won't boycott Victoria's Secret for pasting massive pictures of bazongas all over your local mall, but God forbid your toddler see a simplified representation of refracted light? Interesting.
I was curious where the straight section is. So like shirts that say like straight pride and like hetero is heck. Super cis, you guys have like, so there's gay clothes, but you have like specific straight clothes.
Hetero as heck? Super cis? When the homophobes learn to harness their creativity for anything other than harassing Target employees who they seem to think have the CEO on speed dial, we will be in for a 21st century renaissance.
Oh, I was just curious where the straight section was. I wanted to buy some gifts for my kids.
Can you not record me, please?
Where's the straight section for straight kids?
Indoctrination of kids, and you're like...
Oh, I still wanted to talk to you, sir. You're the manager, right? Still trying to talk to you about this. No? No customer service? He's refused to talk to me 5 or 6 times now.
I can think of no better way to express your concern for the moral decline of your country than harassing and stalking a man who is just trying to make it to his lunch break. While, as usual, any support a company offers to the LGBTQ+ community is considered a capital offense by right-wing commentators and their herd of followers, this particular controversy mostly centers around the products that Target offers to people with trans identities. Specifically, bathing suits that offer a light binding effect across the chest and also just a little bit more material between the legs to make tucking easier. These swimsuits are only offered in adult sizes in the adult section, but due to the efforts of a TikTok user named Kaylee Layton, wife of US Marine Ryan Layton, many people became convinced that Target was trying to beam their cisgendered spawn with the trans ray. Proudly declaring herself TikTok's most hated, Kaylee got her first taste of TikTok fame and became the newest face of the ever-manic satanic panic when she posted this video.
We're at Target right now, and there's a lot of controversy going on about all of the Pride stuff that's coming out with kids' clothes and things like that. So we're gonna go to the kids section, and we're actually going to see if they're putting weird, creepy, uncomfy stuff on children's clothing.
Oh, you mean like this?
Okay, this is the child section. This is literally the kids section. I'm next to a literal onesie that says whatever the hell that means.
Oh boy, do I love it when somebody adds a dash of racism to their bigotry goulash. It really adds to the flavor profile.
We have Glad You Came Out, and I'm so happy that you're queer in the kids section. Are you kidding me? I'm sorry, but pride and toddler don't belong in the same sentence.
They're checkered rainbow pants, Kaylee. You're acting like they say Rim Me RuPaul on the back.
So I found an extra small swimsuit in the child section.
Spoiler alert, they're not from the kids section.
It says light binding effect on it. And then the bottoms in the kids section, keep in mind.
If you're having trouble navigating the store, Kaylee, I'm sure that one of my many minions in red uniforms would be happy to clarify where the kids section is.
Say tuck-friendly construction. They're giving it to your kids. If that doesn't give you a reason to boycott Target, I don't know what does. But this shit's getting out of hand. They're targeting children, whether you like it or not, and it's time that people actually do something about it. Because if they don't, then guess what? That shit won't just be in Target, it'll be in every store, ever.
And it's here that Kaylee touches on the fear nearest and dearest to conservative hearts, that one day their opinion won't be law, and they will be forced to share public spaces with people that have a different opinion than them, as opposed to the biggest fear of trans people, which is potentially having their subscription to Life canceled by a random zealot in a red hat anytime they leave the house. After Kaylee's video went viral, many people went to Target and immediately proved that the swimsuits Kaylee claimed were targeted towards children could only be found in the adult section.
This is again in the adult section, not the kids section. These swimsuits are adult size swimsuits.
It's just a normal bathing suit. It's just a bit wider, more modest. This is a size medium. This is an extra small bottom. So obviously this is not for a child.
So what I'm hearing is Christians mad about these suits are mad about modesty. But I'm over here in the actual little kids swimsuit section, and I don't see any marked tuck save or binder. But you sure can put them in this itty bitty two-piece.
Tanya actually raises a great point. Not only was Kaylee's video dishonest, but these swimsuits that conservative Christians are so upset about are actually more in line with the traditional understanding of biblical passages referencing how women should dress modestly, as opposed to the rest of Target's swimsuit line. But did Kaylee apologize for lying in her video? No. They never do.
Okay, so everybody kept tagging this person, so I went to click on their profile, and my first thought was, oh god, it's one of these. Then I realized that, oh, it bought a swimsuit from Target and tried to prove a point. First of all, congratulations on buying the extra large. Second of all, ew. You probably shouldn't be posting that type of content on TikTok where there's children.
Tanya is a woman with her pronouns set very clearly in her bio. Calling her an it is an obvious ploy to dehumanize her because of her sexuality. Also, if you're upset and offended by an older woman wearing a full coverage one-piece bathing suit, do not visit any beaches in Europe. It will knock the greasy bangs right off your forehead. Over and over again, people went to Target and proved that Kaylee had lied about the swimsuits, but Kaylee insisted that what she found was so itty-bitty, tiny, and small that no adult could possibly ever fit into them.
Extra small size couldn't fit on an anorexic size 0 17-year-old.
Hi, I'm Eiley. I'm 18 and I'm a recovering anorexic size 000. I'm about to go to Target and try on the children's extra small swimming suit just to prove that it is made for people who have real bodies, real adults that have real bodies. This, honest to God, looks too big for me.
But if you notice this is big on me.
But at this point, it didn't matter anymore if the swimsuits were for adults or for kids. Kaylee had declared her personal war on pride, and she had decided to dedicate her platform to waging it. In this video, she's ranting and raving that Target has collaborated with a Satanist, and that anyone who shops at Target must worship Satan, because somebody on Twitter told her so. Don't you love it when people develop an entire argument based on reading a single headline? I sure do. Let's look at what the Washington Examiner article actually said, shall we? The article is referring to the designer Eric Carnell, who heads the brand Obprolin. At least, I think that's how you say the brand. I'm sorry. Among Obprolin's other apparel are images of pentagrams, horned skulls, and references to devils. Who wrote this? A 17th century Puritan? Enoch, bring the fire and oil. A transgender is trying to make social commentary with merchandise again. But seriously, all this article proves is that the guy has a dark sense of humor. There's no evidence that Target is linked to Satanism. But let's assume Target is. What did Satanists believe anyway? Let's see what the 7 tenets of the Satanic Temple are. Number 1, one should strive to act with compassion and empathy toward all creatures in accordance with reason. That actually sounds pretty nice. What about, all of these are just about respecting yourself and others? What the HE double hockey sticks is this? Am I a Satanist? Oh, and they have a sick logo too. I'm being manipulated by a gothic aesthetic and common sense. Curse you, Satanic Temple! This has been Satanism for Dummies.
All they do is say you're homophobic. How? I'm quite literally saying do not expose children to this stuff, and you're calling me homophobic.
So, despite Kaylee's stance against Target's Pride collection, she takes great offense to being called homophobic. Her rebuttal is that she just believes that children shouldn't be exposed to topics of sexuality and gender identity, and that she shouldn't be called a homophobe because of that. The thing is, Kaylee, you're not being labeled a homophobe because you want to protect children. You're being labeled a homophobe because of this.
Because I don't want my kids exposed to sexual immorality. Because the LGBTQ community, in my personal opinion, is like kind of pedophilic.
All right, Webster, what's the definition of homophobia? Irrational fear of, aversion to, or discrimination against homosexuality or gay people. I would say that telling an entire group of people that they're a bunch of pedophilic sinners would qualify as aversion. Wouldn't you?
The problem that I'm calling out is the fact that children are continuously getting exposed and continuously getting groomed and indoctrinated by this stuff, and apparently there's a group of people in the world who think that's totally okay.
Kaylee, kids getting exposed to this stuff is no different than me being 6 years old, plopped in front of a television, watching a man make out with an unconscious woman to break a spell. Twice. No one is forcing your child to binge watch all 15 seasons of RuPaul's Drag Race. Trixie Mattel isn't gonna be assigned to your local kindergarten class to teach them how to use lube. Age-appropriate conversations about sexuality and gender are incredibly important to protect children from predatory adults and also to make sure they don't feel like a freak, isolated and confused if they start to realize that they don't quite fit within the strict social norms of society. Blurring the lines between children just existing in the same world as consenting adults that live lifestyles incongruent to your biblical standards, and children being made to participate in inappropriate adult activities is a very dishonest way to engage in this discussion. If you have arguments about why non-traditional relationships are harmful for our culture, make those arguments, but don't pretend that homosexuality and trans identities are a disease so contagious your child will catch it by just looking at a rainbow. It is fascinating to watch this woman cling to her story even after many people proved that she was lying, but it's easy to see why. Before her controversial rise to virality, Kaylee used to run a food blog and post thrifting videos on TikTok, content completely unrelated to social commentary or politics. But guess what? Posting about food and clothes didn't bring in that many views. Transphobia brought in millions. And what's the point of life if you can't spend it ogled by the eyes of millions of strangers? Hey, f*** you. As Kaylee's view count rose, so did the intensity and hatefulness of her content, to the point where a lot of her videos got muted or taken down by TikTok. In this video, she equates a child being able to choose their own gender with a child being able to choose to bring a certain weapon to school. She also seems very concerned with children's private parts being chopped off, and dude, I don't know how many times we're gonna have to go through this. No sane person is advocating for gender-affirming surgery for trans people under 18. But this idea has rooted itself in the right-wing psyche. Anytime you try to bring up trans kids, they start talking about evil doctors Frankensteining kids' junk. But Kaylee's virtual wax wings brought her a little too close to the sun, because she graduated from making transphobic rants on TikTok to calling for the death of the president. You heard that right. The wife of an active member of the military, currently living on base, threatened the life of the President of the United States.
She posted on Facebook, Biden left many military service dogs to die in Kabul after the evacuation. I am calling for the public execution of this old man, and you can't change my mind.
Not exactly the brightest bulb in the knife drawer. After that threat started spreading around the internet, Kaylee seems to have taken down all of her social media, and her husband seems to have limited his online presence as well. But Kaylee is far from the only person to try to misrepresent the Target Pride section.
Tuck-friendly swimsuits or standard swimsuits with standard gussets that just say tuck-friendly on the tag.
They were selling a bathing suit that had instructions on how to tuck.
Right? So without getting too anatomical.
Right.
Within even this incredibly short example, you can see how these commentators are twisting their language to misrepresent the issue. The reality of the situation is that these swimsuits don't offer anything that women's swimsuits don't already offer cis women looking for a little extra coverage. Literally, the only difference is that they have tags that notify trans people that they're a good option for chest binding or tucking. These news anchors carefully choose their words, though, to imply that these tags contain explicit instructions that are so vile and disgusting they can barely choke out the words. However, the damage has already been done. After enough threats of violence, and more importantly to the stuffy old suits up top, threats of boycotting, Target has tucked its tail and lowered its rainbow flag to half-mast as conservatives deliver on their promise of giving Target the Bud Light treatment. And I feel kind of torn by this. On the one hand, if this means just one Target employee is saved from being hate crimed by a degenerate cousin diddler while organizing rainbow onesies, I'm happy about that.
A Target in Layton, Utah was evacuated after officials were informed of a threat to multiple Target locations. They said that the threat mentioned Target's Pride merchandise displays.
On the other hand, I'm disgusted that Target would bend so easily on their pro-LGBTQ+ stance right before June, emboldening extremists and making the world a less safe place for people they claim to support.
Humankind is my company, and I just found out that Target removed all of our products with no heads up.
I've received death threats, I've received very detailed descriptions of violence. There's no doubt in my mind Target are aware that I am a targeted victim in a hate campaign. They absolutely know, and they haven't even bothered to reach out to make sure that I'm okay.
Even though Target has removed the products of very talented LGBTQ+ creators, you can still buy from them directly and support them. I'll have the links down below. I think we can expect increasing calls for boycotting from the right in the future. They seem to have become the proverbial snake deep-throating their own tail, with many Twitter users so appalled by Chick-fil-A's hiring of a VP of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion that they are calling to boycott the famously Christian company. You know, the company many LGBTQ+ people have been boycotting for years for the opposite reason. Soon there won't be a single store that a Bible-believing, upright citizen of the United States can walk into and shop peacefully. How tragic. I know it seems like the progress of civil rights is regressing here in the States, especially here in the South, where the eye of anti-LGBTQ+ legislation seems to be forming. But I just want to remind you guys that the one good thing about clouds is that when the sun shines behind them, they make a rainbow.
O dark Lord, let the children of America be so fierce. Let them slay all your enemies this Pride season. And O dark Lord, let them serve you!